Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome you inside of Powell High School, home of the Panthers, as we enter the varsity stretch of our coverage today as the Thermopolis Bobcats take on the Powell Panthers. And with that, a little bit of a preview before we head into today's game. Of course, today's game brought to you by Kirby Consulting, your oil field consulting professionals serving the Rockies in the Western Plains since 2014. And the Bobcats coming into this game off a 3-0 loss to Rocky Mountain last night in Cali. They'll be looking to bounce back here today, looking for their 5th win of the season, only their 5th win. Not a very good record through the first 20 games of the season. They'll be looking to hopefully improve on that just a little ways here. Powell Panthers are in a much better situation, but they're second to last in 3A West in terms of their standings. They'll be looking to get a win here as they came off of it. They're also coming off of a loss, but a much closer loss, a 2-3 loss to the Lovell Bulldogs, who are ranked number 3 in Class 3A in volleyball. So a lot of interesting things here about this game, and both teams will be looking for some momentum boost heading into this game, and it should be an interesting one here on the road here in Eastern Park County. As always, I'm your head commentator, Hayden Main with Two Basins Sports Network. Glad to have you with us here on the voice of the Bobcats. And one more time, this is going to be an interesting game for the Bobcats. With the freshman game and the JV game taught us anything, this might be a closer contest than we anticipated. It's also going to be a good warm-up for when the Bobcats take on the Lovell Bulldogs here in a couple of days in Bighorn County. So that will be interesting. Just kind of their record against Bighorn County teams so far this year has not been the best, but if they can get a win here over the Powell Panthers, that'll be a much-needed confidence boost. And also be another 3A team under their belt that they have beaten this year. They already beat the Lander Valley Tigers in a reverse sweep at home back in September. With that being said, all that's left to do now is just play the game. Best of 5 series, first to 25 at each set. Should be an entertaining matchup, and we expect it to be a barn burner here in Powell. The Thermopolis Bobcats are wearing their black uniforms here today with the purple pants, yellow stripe across the chest, purple numbering with yellow outline, the Bobcat on the right part of the chest. The libero is wearing a white uniform with purple numbering, yellow outline, the Bobcat on the chest as well, purple pants as well. Bobcats will be starting on the left side of the court here in the first set, and the Powell Panthers will be wearing their home whites today with the black stripe across the sleeve, ending in an orange elbow. Panthers will also be having a orange number and black pants. The libero is wearing a orange uniform with black sleeves, black numbering, and black pants. Panthers will be starting on the right side of the floor, relevant to our broadcast angle. Best of 5, of course, first to 3 sets wins the match. Bobcats with a much-needed momentum boost here at Powell High School. Your coaches today for the Panthers and the Bobcats, starting off with the Panthers, coached by head coach Anna Flittner. Of course, the Bobcats led by Kylie Corpening. Those will be your 2 masterminds behind the game plan here tonight. Still pouring the rain outside here in Powell. Thank goodness we are indoors, although there was a varsity volleyball game in Nebraska recently that was played on their football field. So it was the small town school from Nebraska. They actually played it. They constructed a temporary court on the football field, and it was amazing. It was so awesome to see. Thank goodness we're not in that kind of situation here. We are indoors, perfectly safe and sound, without any weather to hold us back. Also, we'd like to extend our congratulations to the Thermopolis Bobcats football team, who walked away with their first win over the Cokeville Panthers in school history. A very convincing victory on the road in in central Lincoln County. We extend our congratulations to Boone Bowker and the coaching staff, as well as the Bobcats football team. What else can I say? Not the only 7-foot Watusi that they've taken down this year, and it won't be the last. They got to take on Lyman this Friday and Mountain View next Saturday, so that'll be interesting. And also a really good Pinedale Wranglers team. We are underway here as they get the first serve underway, and that is going to be out of bounds automatically there off of one of the Bobcats. The Powell Panthers looking for some momentum to start this match after seeing the JV game. Some of those JV players are playing in this varsity match as well. Tipped over behind her off number 20, Paige Jones. Bobcats going to try to salvage it. Jones with the set. Double-hander by Owsley. They're going to deliver it to the middle of the floor. The two-hander. Student section doing their thing here. Paige Jones on the set. The spike. And that's going to roll off the top of the net. And this rally really long so far. Jones on another set. Owsley with a dangerous spike. Still going. They're going to tip it over. Finally brings the rally to an end. I believe the kill was made by number 8, Hallie Hancock, the senior. 2-0 to start this set, or to start the opening set here in this game. Trying to go with the back to the middle here, and now that's Owsley with two hands. Drop it to the floor, number 4, Kendall Floyd. And here they go, still there, and Powell will get the point off the ricochet out of bounds. 3-0 to start this match. The Powell student section doing some chants over on that back set of bleachers. A serve here by Powell. We forgot to put the camera on it. We apologize. Jones on the back set. Sent over by the 4 of Cameron Farrell. The spike blocked. Drops to her chest. Then gets the dig for the Bobcats. And set back over. The rejection is going to be handled pretty smoothly there by the Bobcats. It was Epperson there receiving it. The spike into the corner. Out of bounds. Bobcats' first point of the match. 3-1. Really hard to keep up with the speed from freshman to JV up to the varsity level. It's just like basketball. The speed change is something I need to get adjusted to. To the near side, the bump, the set, the spike coming from the middle. It's blocked. Sent back up toward the umpire. That's still a point for the Powell Panthers. And I believe that was number 8, Hallie Hancock on that spike there for the Panthers. Really good job getting the kill for the orange and black. And now here comes the serve for the number 4 of Kendall Floyd. Charlie Slagle back up to Owsley. She'll heave it over to the far side, received by Kendall Floyd. The set and the spike! Drop it to the floor. That's going to go out of bounds. 5-1 to score here in the opening set here in this varsity game. Not quite as hot of a start here as the JV and freshman teams had. The Bobcats have got to get things together here. In my opinion, they might be a little too spaced out on the front line here. Charlie Slagle delivers. Gets it up to the libero there. Good received by Ava Teaton. And the spike. You can hear that through my headset. Man, a powerful spike results in points for Powell again. Kendall Floyd, the sophomore, back to return a very young varsity team. There are 5 sophomores on this roster. 6-1 here. Owsley sends it over and it's blocked. Didn't see who it was by. The rejection, I think it was by Ava Brewer, the junior there in on the rejection. 7-1. This is going to be a rough game for the Cats if they can't get it together here. Owsley on the spike. Off the libero. What a kill! J.C. Owsley on the second point of the day for the Bobcats. It ricocheted off of Ava Teaton. Now back to serve number 20, Paige Jones, the sophomore. Tips. Owsley there on the reception. They're going to try and work it back through the middle. Slagle, and that is going to ricochet. That's a point. Charlie Slagle able to get it off of Kendall Floyd. That'll be a point for Thermopolis, 7-3. So Paige Jones will have another serve coming up. Bobcats able to string together back-to-back serves. Sends it over, and that's going to be a net fault for the sophomore there. They'll give Powell their 8th point of the set. Number 6, Ava Teaton, the junior, back to serve for the Powell Panthers. Also the libero for the Panthers here. Jones on the set. Owsley not really given much there by Jones. Through the middle, up to the far side. The spike, that's going to have too much juice on it, and the flag goes up. And we got a substitute coming onto the floor. It is Logan Farrell, the sophomore. Got a lot of playing time in that JV game and did really well in that JV game. A major part of the Bobcats getting that 2-0 win. Owsley sends it over, lowers herself there. The block! Middle doing its job there. Trying to get it over. She's going to get the kill. Trying to see who that was. Number 16, Logan Farrell, returned it to where it came from. 8-5 is your score here. The Bobcats starting to get themselves back in order here. A very slow start to the set, but they're starting to claw their way back. Owsley on the serve, works middle. This could be dangerous. The spike, and it hits the net. Bobcats with the point. Owsley delivered the serve perfectly there. Had to make the Panthers work for it in the middle, past the attack line. 8-6 is your score. Owsley with another serve, sends it over right side, and oh man, that's going to be a point for Powell. Good job by Morgan Jones, though, to try to save it. Maybe she did a little too much there because she just tried to tip it over and went right into the front of the net. Still a good, like I said, a good attempt by Jones there. Powell with a serve, very powerful serve there. Owsley sends it over, big spike, and she gets the kill. Another kill by Owsley. And that is going to be the libero now setting up. This is Layla Epperson. Originally her family from Kansas City. Let's see if she can put some sauce on this one. Into the back, up toward the key. The spike on its way from the far side. Rolls off and a point for Powell. Good attempt there. It was a good serve, but Powell had a good play drawn up there to return it back to the other end of the floor. Sometimes if you can all you have to do is control the ball, get it to the middle, and you have a good chance to spike it. And Powell's got some really good spikers on that outside edge here. The spike up to the floor, has to dive for it. They'll save it. Powell's going to try and return it. Up to the back end, it's Owsley. Diving for it is Jones. Keeps it alive. Epperson barely gets over the net. Up to the middle, the spike, and that's going to be there on the line. The flag stays down. That's a point for the Panthers. I should probably comment down. This is a pretty old building. There is not much insulation here to drown out the sound, and I'm probably going to get booted out if I continue like this. I doubt it, but you know. I've seen people booted out of high school games for stranger things than that. So, net fault on the Panthers. Also, I had a couple of Thermop fans looking at me weird there. So, and they're all the way over there. So, by the way, the Powell fans are just awesome. By the way, they've been putting up with my crap all day. The set and the spike. That's going to be off the edge, but great job by Paige Jones and Cameron Farrell on the block. Didn't go where they wanted it to, but that shows you what kind of hands this Bobcat team has. They've been doing really well on blocking on the front of the net. I've praised the front line all season so far that we've been on the air. 12-8 here. I can't see who's serving. I'm just trying to see her number. Number 10, I think that was. Bobcats just barely get it here. Owsley sends it over. It's tipped. Powell trying to keep it. That's going to be 4 touches, I think. No, it is not. Sorry. Jones. And a miscommunication on the front end there. Paige Jones with the set. And that should have either gone to either Farrell or turn around so I could see your number. Well, there's 2 Farrells, so would have gone to either sister there. And net fault on the Panthers. Bobcats getting lucky off some of those serves. They can't rely on net faults forever, though. We got subs here coming on for both Powell and Thermopolis. Checking into the game is Autumn Kidd. Had a fantastic game in that JV game just about half an hour ago. Was one of our honorable mentions in that JV broadcast. The bump, the set, and spike potentially on the left side. Good job there. Number 8 there on the spike, but that's going to go back over to Powell's side. The set, a big spike coming up in the middle. They're going to try to go up. Izzy Hetzel there receives it. Farrell sends it back over. The set, the spike from the left side. It's tipped, keeps it alive. Oh, that's going to just barely clear the net. It gets over. That looked very dangerous, and that has too much juice on it. The Bobcats survived to get the point. Both teams into double digits. Powell still with the 3-point advantage. They have had a fantastic game keeping drives alive here. Or not drives, but rallies. The tip. Owsley there to receive it. Now Jones into the middle. It's Farrell. Powell having to try to play at the front of the net here. That's going to go all the way back. That's a point for the Bobcats as it sails out off the touch. 13-11 Bobcats. This is about as close as it's been since the start of the set. Powell still has control, though. The serve on the jump serve. Good job there delivering that one. The libero, a powerful spike from the back end. Jones, far side two-hander there by Owsley. Falling to the floor. Number 18, Izzy Hetzel tried to go for the dig. 14-11. Another sub here for Powell, an active bench. Ava Brewer back into the game here for the Panthers. The serve by Powell. They'll move it into the back end. They'll let it go out. Flag goes up. It's a point for Thermopolis. Scoreboard pretty close here. Again, Thermopolis has been kind of the New York Giants of two-way volleyball. They've been just slaying giants here over the course of the season, but few wins they've been able to scrounge up. Remember, like I said earlier, they beat Lander. And that's going to go out near the line. It stays in, actually. Good job there. Couldn't see who got the kill for Powell, but that was a really good play there by the Panthers. Got it right there, just barely inside the orange line, but that's all that they needed. Powell on the serve. It will be number 4, Kendall Floyd, the sophomore. She'll get ready for her serve here. It may be 50 degrees outside, but things are heating up here inside of Powell High School. Takes it and into the net it goes. A good job, though, by Layla Epperson to try to keep it alive. The junior just didn't have enough underneath it. I think her first mistake was just trying to slap it trying to slap it over. Should have gone with the double hand there. There'll be a tip near side, out of bounds off of Charlie Slagle. Can't fault her for that. I think if they can just control the direction, this team would be absolutely elite if they had better control of this of the volleyball here. By the way, it's the first time I've seen a team color volleyball in a actual match. Usually they do the normal red, white, and blue, but this is Powell orange and black. Oh, man, that did not look good. Stays upright and stays in. That's a Powell point. I'm sorry. I'm glad she's okay. Kendall Floyd taking a shot right to the face. But that is going to be the first timeout called for the Bobcats. So Kylie Corpening is going to talk it over just real quick here. 2 timeouts still for Powell. And this set is a lot closer than it probably should have been if you watched the earlier part of the set. 18-12. We'll be right back. You're watching Varsity Volleyball on Two Basins Sports Network, the voice of the Bobcats. $18 to 12 is your score. We'd like to welcome you back here inside of Powell High School, home of the Panthers. This game brought to you by Kirby Consulting, a proud sponsor of Two Basins Sports Network and Bobcat Volleyball. The serve coming up, jump serve there, gets it up to the back line. Epperson there to get it. Paige Jones, now Owsley on the spike, and it's rejected. Epperson kept it alive for a second, and it will be a point for the Panthers. And the student section making some noise. There you go. That's what I like to see. Not much of one today, but they are definitely tiny but mighty. And that'll be a net violator. A net fault for the number 4 of Kendall Floyd. Got a substitution here as the number 12 of Morgan Jones checks back into the game. Izzy Hetzel back onto the bench for the Bobcats. Paige Jones. So both Jones sisters are out onto the floor here. Good serve there, sends it over. The set, spike in the middle. They couldn't get any better than that. Right down the middle and went by. couldn't see who it went by. I think it was by the number 3 of Peyton Green. Just nothing they could have done there. Perfectly placed spike. And now checking into the game, I believe for the first time, will be Alex Sorensen, the senior. 20-13 is your score. Sends it over. Goes for the dig. Owsley keeps it alive. Sorensen sends it over. The set. And the spike goes to the floor. Epperson couldn't get a hold of it. And it's a football score here. Powell on top, 21-13. Now the thing about this, the Bobcats did lose 3-0 last night. However, that third set was particularly interesting because they took the Rocky Mountain Grizzlies into extra points on the board. Remember, you have to win by 2 in volleyball. And I think the final ended up being like, what, 25-24 or 26-24, something like that. 27-25 at the minimum. That's going to get by, and another point. Credit, though, to Paige Jones for trying to hang in there. 22-13. Powell, a fire lit underneath them after the middle of that set. 3 points away from ending the first set here. Bitty boom bang, just like that. Sorensen pushes it back and received there. Kind of ill-advised. That probably could have gone out. Back set here will be off of Jones. And now here comes Owsley up to the top of the three-point line of the basketball court. Takes the spike, and that is off again, off of Paige Jones. Didn't react quite in time. And it's a 10-point game, and Thermopolis will call their second and final timeout of the first set. And we're going to take another quick breather. We'll be right back. 23-13. Powell a couple points away from ending the first set. We'll be right back here in just a moment from Powell High School. I'd like to welcome you back inside of Powell High School, home of the Panthers. 23-13 in the opening set here. Remember, best of 5, so we got at least 3 sets here. But Powell is trying to make short work of the Bobcats. And quite frankly, the Bobcats, they've not had a great defensive day today. Offense has actually been pretty solid, in my opinion, but the defense has kind of been lacking. They haven't been able to do much in terms of receiving the Powell offense here. You know, it's easier said than done, right? Especially when you're at the varsity level and the spikes are like super powerful, right? These girls can hit. Okay, don't sleep on volleyball. You know, these girls can hit. Well, they try to rescue it there on the left end of the floor. It'll be set point for the Panthers. The serve sends it to the left side, trying to chase it down. 2 men there. Sorensen sends it over. That's going to go out of bounds, and that will be the 25th and final point of the set. And Powell's student section making noise. That is, again, I don't care. Man, I love it. I love it. I love it when the student section gets involved, man. That's awesome. With that being said, that's going to conclude the first set. 1-0 the final after that. We'll be back in about 3 minutes or so for the start of the second set. Powell wins this one 25-13. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. You're watching Varsity Volleyball on Two Basins Sports Network, the voice of the Bobcats. We'll be back for the second set. More volleyball coming up next. Well, looks like we're about ready to get set for the start of this second set. I'd like to welcome you back here on Two Basins Sports Network, the voice of the Bobcats. As always, I'd like to remind you today's game brought to you by Kirby Consulting, serving the Rockies and Western Plains since 2014. Kirby Consulting is your oilfield consulting professionals. Well, about ready to get started. The Bobcats will be serving here. It'll be Layla Epperson back to serve now for Thermopolis. Net fault on Epperson to get it started. That's a kind of, actually, isn't that? That's not how the first set started. I apologize. I think they did have a net fault, though, on their first possession. But, well, Thermopolis kept it close. We know what Thermop's capable of. They have a very solid front line. Now, Charlie Slagle, J.C. Owsley, even Paige Jones, I think, is also a really... Oh, that is going to be a big mistake there by the 9 of Leah Graham. And that will give the Bobcats their first point of the set. Just bad luck there for Powell on that. That nothing she did wrong, nothing at all. It's just sometimes that kind of thing happens because physics sucks sometimes. I just don't know what else to tell you. Clock was running. It is now stopped at 3. I don't even have epilepsy, and I think the scoreboard's going to give me a seizure. Just the colors change so much on it. Oh, that's into the net. That's going to be a point for the Cats. And a good job there by the purple and gold to get something out of that. Makes it a 2-1 game. Bobcats lead early, the exact opposite of that first set so far. And they're going to tip this one up a little higher to go for the spike. That was off of Owsley, and a point for Powell to tie it up. Like we said, we know what the Bobcats are capable of. When they have their best foot forward, they can rack up the points for sure. And we saw that in the first couple of sets against Grable and the last 3 sets against Lander. And we saw that also, I didn't see it in person. I saw it on WyoPreps, though. Like that third set against Rocky. They can hang it together. They can do a lot of great things, but they gotta be more consistent, especially on defense. And into the net it goes off the back set attempt, and that's going to be another point for Thermop to take the lead. A substitution coming on for Thermopolis. Sorry about that. Morgan Jones coming on. You know, it's just a shame that we're probably going to be ending up boycotting the WHSAA regionals because this team would be so much fun to watch it in Lander. Or is it in Riverton? I forgot. That's going to be another for the Panthers there as they get the net. I think they got called for the net there. 4-2 Bobcats. And miscommunication. And that one was right there for Hallie Hancock. And Seven Nation Army there being sung pretty poorly by the Bobcats. I'm just joking. Actually, it's not that bad. I've heard worse. But 5-2. Thermopolis on top here in the opening or in the second set. Powell having to use a timeout here early. We'll be right back here inside of Powell High School. 5-2. Bobcats on top. Like talking back as the Bobcats are out of the timeout last. Powell had a very quick timeout. Don't know why. I mean, they're the ones that called the timeout, so I don't know. But second set here in Powell. A lot of Thermopolis fans made the trip here to Powell. Now, granted, it's not that big of a drive, but still, a lot of fans here in the stands. Thank you to everyone from Thermopolis who came out to watch this game. And the buzzer, I'm surprised, didn't mess up that play. That's going to be over the net, and that'll be a point for the Panthers. The front line not able to stop it. And coming into the game will be the number 1 of Autumn Kidd. Again, the sophomore had a great game in the JV game today. And again, Powell, the younger of the two teams. Bobcats have a lot of seniority on the team. And that's going to be off of her. That's going to be off of Layla Epperson there and out of bounds. 4-5. Powell starting to catch back up out of the timeout. Powell getting ready for the serve. It's the libero on this one. And the spike, and this is still airborne. Somehow it'll fall to the floor. And Thermopolis on the point, 6-4. Great job so far by the Bobcats in this second set, but like I said, it's kind of all about consistency and being able to maintain the momentum here. Sorry. And a spike. This one's going easily to the back row here. Owsley now over by Morgan Jones. Into the middle, going on to the set, and miscommunication there. I don't know if the court monster got to Cadence Carter or not. Four to 7, your score now. Powell on top, Thermopolis still on top. Again, it's just going to be about if they can keep this momentum, and this is going to go to the corner. Oh, yeah, the flag goes up in the corner. Owsley knew it before just about anybody else there, 8-4. Yeah, that was kind of a close call, though, for a moment there because it looked like it was going to stay within the orange paint there. Goes to the corner. The libero gets it here. This one airborne to the far side. Gets underneath it, makes the dig. Jones on the spike, gets it by the libero for the point. What a play! I'm telling you, volleyball, you can see some extremely powerful spikes. And that was one of them, just absolutely difficult, impossible to defend there. The set and the spike coming from the far side, out of bounds. Good try, though, by Cadence Carter. Bobcats into double digits. Biggest lead easily that they've had all day. The bump, the set, spike coming from the side. Owsley there to receive it. Good dig there. And she'll send it over past inside the practice court here. They're going to go on the spike. That's going to go out of bounds. Don't know if that hit the antenna or not, but a good attempt either way. Ava Brewer was the one who tried to send it to the near side. The serve coming up again here. Now number 6, I believe, is up on it. That's Millie Johnson. The spike coming up. It's rejected. Powell's going to try it again. Up into the middle of the spike, and that's going to go into the net. Not rejected by a human hand this time, but by the net. 12-4. And here we go. The bump, the spike coming up. That's going to have too much juice on it. And Powell just I feel like Powell's kind of unsettled here in the second set. They are putting way too much power on these spikes. They don't even need to do that. All they need to do is try to get up to the front line, try and get Thermopolis on a spike there, try to send it up into the backcourt. And what a play! Off of Cameron Farrell, she puts it in, and it's a 10-point set, and Powell will use their second timeout. A complete inverse of that opening set. We'll be right back from Powell High School. It's 14-4. Bobcats on top. We'll be right back in just a second. I talk you back here inside of Powell High School, home of the Panthers. Bobcats trying to get back into this, Panthers trying to get back into this set. It's not been a good set at all, putting it lightly for the Panthers. This game brought to you by Kirby Consulting. And the serve, we're back underway here, and the flag goes up, and that is a point finally for the Panthers. 5 on the board now in this set. So Powell has used both their timeouts here in this set. They're not going to have any more for another 11 points, unfortunately for them. They're going to get this one out to the far side and a side out. Bobcats doing what they do best. I will be honest, they've done a lot of good stuff being patient over the course of the season, letting the ball go where it needs to go. just letting it slide out. They're not really, there's only a couple of moments I can really recall at the varsity level where they have gone after a ball when they didn't need to. And Jones will send it over. The set, spike coming from the far side, and it will stay in. A very good job indeed by Cadence Carter to get the kill on the far side. And we got a sub coming in as Izzy Hetzel back into the game for the Bobcats. She'll come in for the number 16, the sophomore Logan Farrell, her classmate there. And she'll send it into the back row here. Hetzel on the reception. And now here comes Owsley sending it up toward the back end of the floor here. The spike into the net, and that is going to be a point for the Bobcats. Good try, though, by Autumn Kidd. It was Autumn Kidd there, and then I think it was Kendall Floyd, the sophomore, that was getting ready to go for the spike in case it came back. You can see she was ready to go regardless. Into the back end, and that's another point for the Bobcats. The defensive woes continue for the Panthers in the second set. Volleyball is such a fun sport for me, and you can see why. This has been such an entertaining day, not just a game, but entertaining day. Freshman was awesome, JV was awesome, and now the varsity game has been awesome. That's going to be more woes there for Cadence Carter. Just off her game here in this second set. I don't mean to pick on her, but it's just, I have called her name out quite a bit today, and it's not been for good things usually. We have had a positive thing to say about her just a couple minutes ago, though. So the spike, that was off of the three of Peyton Green. Didn't see who it was. I think it was either Kendall Floyd or Leah Graham. Checking into the game is Hallie Hancock, one of the starters. She is coming in for Ava Teaton. Now back to serve will be the number 10 of Maddie Valdez. Valdez winds up, goes for the jump serve, delivers it middle to the libero. The set, the spike for Owsley to the back side of the floor. The spike, and that's going to go into the antenna. That's a point for the Cats. By the way, Powell has not gotten out of single digits yet. They're in a little bit of trouble here because the Bobcats are on their 19th point, they're on their 20th point right now. This is going to be the libero Epperson. They're going to dive to the floor. Keep Lloyd. How did they do that? It goes out, but what a play by the Panthers! I thought for sure that was going to be dead in the water there, but the Panthers just did not quit on that play. Great job by the white jerseys to get it done there, even if it did go out. Up toward the antenna, gets her off guard. Leah Graham on the kill for the Panthers. 8 on the board for Powell here. Still a very comfortable lead for the Bobcats if they can maintain it. Leah Graham up to serve now. She's going to have this one into the back row. Received there by Paige Jones, and now the spike doesn't work out for Owsley. Just did not have the right hand on it there. Still a very lopsided score here in the second set, 20-9. Easily the best we've seen the Bobcats do all year on our broadcasts anyway. Spike coming up into the back. What a save! And they're going to try to push this one back. Bobcats keep it alive in the front end. The set and the spike coming up from the left end. It's out of bounds. Good try, though. Leah Graham, I think, was the one back there that did that one. It was either her or, no, it was not Brewer. It was definitely Graham back there that made the spike. But 21-9. Bobcats 4 points away from winning the second set here to tie the game at 1-1. The set. The spike from the right side. Chased down. That was Peyton Green, I think, that had a hand on it there, but Bobcats will send it over. The set. Spike coming up from the far side. It's two-hander. And Owsley caught off guard there on the near side. She is going to be the nearest one to it, and Powell will finally get into double digits here. Bobcats still in a very good spot, though. It is an 11-point lead. That's usually pretty safe at this point in the set, but they got to keep a hold of it here. It's whether or not they can finish is what I'm worried about. Sends it over to the middle. They're going to try and work it back up into the circle. The far side spike, and it's out of bounds. Bobcats have barely had to lift a finger on defense in this set. The Powell Panthers have been scoring the points for them there. And now checking back into the game is going to be good Lord, wrong number, Morgan Jones. I was going off of the grade number there. I said Charlie Slagle, but it was the person above her on the roster. Oh, still keeps it going on the net there. The bump. The spike coming up, and it's blocked! Out of bounds, though! And that's going to be a point for the Bobcats. Still a very good block on the near side. I think the block was made by Hallie Hancock, and she's been very aggressive today in this match. The set and the spike from the middle. They'll roll off the fingers of one of the Bobcat frontmen. Up to the far side there. They'll be still there in Powell possession. Should be an easy spike. This one will get to the back, and that is Owsley on the reception there. Goes up to the top of the net. It'll be one-on-one. Still trying to keep it. They're going to play it in the middle here. Two-hander up to the far side. The libero gets a hold of it there. They're going to try to get it back over. An easy palm ball over to the other end of the floor. Didn't know what else to call it. The spike coming up from the far side. Owsley, a very big rally here. We've seen some pretty long rallies in this game. The spike coming up. That is going to go off of Paige Jones, and finally the rally comes to an end. 23-11. Powell will score the point. Bobcats trying to get into set point here. Again, just a super entertaining game to watch up to this point. And a net fault there. And here we go. Sending it back into the back area here. And the spike. Airborne goes to the bench. This set might stay alive. And it will. Powell will have the point there. 12-24. Still set point for the Bobcats. And here comes the serve here by the libero. And that's going to go to the... Oh, still keeps it alive. And the spike coming up from Morgan Jones. She'll get to the middle. The set. Spike from the far side. Paige Jones drops to her knees. The spike there, or just the slap over the far side of the net. They'll send it back up. Nice job by Jones to keep a hold of it. Now through the middle, trying to get the point. Powell not giving up on the defensive end. And that's Morgan Jones having to push her teammate out of the way to get there. And the point. Bobcats get it to go. That's going to be the end of the second set. And that will tie the game up 1-1 here in Powell, as we are going to see what this third set will bring. And we are guaranteed a fourth set at the very least. And we'll be right back from Powell High School in just a moment. Second set coming up. The score at the end of 2 was 25-12. Can the Bobcats carry this momentum into the third set? Only one way to find out. We'll be right back. You're watching Varsity Volleyball on Two Basins Sports Network, the voice of the Bobcats. I'd like to welcome you back inside of Powell High School, home of the Panthers. Third set about to get started here. Powell gave up that second set, but the Bobcats, can they carry that momentum or will they fizzle out here? Only one way to find out, though. The first serve, and we're back underway. This game brought to you by Kirby Consulting. Owsley, sky high, and they'll let it go out. So if you'd like to add your name to the list of sponsors here, you can contact the number on your screen, preferably text me instead of call me, or you can reach out to us on Facebook, Two Basins Sports Network. Through the middle, the set and the spike coming up back end. Flag goes up. That's a point for the Bobcats. And the scoreboard once again turns orange. And so we got a serve coming up here for Powell. So never mind, it wasn't a point on Thermop at all. It was actually a point on Powell. And they're going to work their way to the middle here. The spike coming up, and actually I think she bluffed on the spike there. But it's rejected back to the Bobcat side of the net. 3-0. I have a feeling that there might be a magical side of the net here because Bobcats have had pretty good success from the right end. From both sides have actually had success from the right end of the floor so far. Owsley sends it up. That's a good dig there by the 4. They'll send it back over. Heavy spike there. Now here they go. Jones sends it over. Dives for it. That's a point for Thermop, their first of the set. And I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing out of the sophomore, Kendall Floyd. She's having a great game so far. And now getting ready to serve is Layla Epperson. She'll send it over cleanly, having the dive for it, though. That'll go right back into her face, and a point for the Bobcats. That's got to be the worst feeling in the world, though, when you're trying to go for the ball and it rolls into the net and right back onto your noggin. I don't care how soft that ball is, it cannot feel good. Far side through the middle, tips it over. Right there to get it is Hetzel. Paige Jones now directs it to the middle. Far side. The spike drops to the floor. That's a point for Powell. We got sirens coming from either the bench or the student section. One of the funniest things I've heard all day, I'm not going to lie to you. Paige Jones gets it up to the far side, and a little bit of miscommunication there. They both go for it, a tip and a spike. Hetzel back to get it. Jones now through the middle, keeping it alive through the middle of the floor here. The spike coming up onto the net. That's a point for the Bobcats. And Bobcats going to bring in a substitute here as Logan Farrell will replace her classmate Izzy Hetzel. Drops a little bit low here. She's going to try to go for the spike. And off of Layla Epperson, they're going to try and salvage it. This might be possible. Nope, it will not. It goes through the rafters. I thought for sure that ball was going to get stuck inside one of the basket supports there because it actually went up into the trusses here inside the gymnasium. And I'm not about to maneuver my camera to do that. 5-3. Paige Jones now to the far side. The spike and the kill, number 16, Logan Farrell. Got a sub coming on here. Morgan Jones back into the game. She's going to replace Peyton Green. And now here comes JC Owsley up to serve now for the Bobcats. Drops a little bit to her knee. And the spike coming up. That's going to, oh, what a job there by Jones. And the kill by Cadence Carter. Struggled mightily in that second set, but she found her form on that play. We got a sub coming in. Looks to be Abigail Visosky. Sends it over, and that'll be off of Owsley, and another point for the Panthers, 7-4. Good job so far by Powell holding on here in the third set, but Bobcats staying not very far behind. Gets it up. That's off one hand. They're going to try and keep this alive. Layla Epperson there to receive it. Now here comes Paige Jones. Spike coming up from the side, and that's a kill! Another one for Logan Farrell! And Layla Epperson will come out of the game here. Her replacement, I'm trying to see who it is. I think it might be Cameron Farrell. Now serving is going to be Millie Johnson. She'll send it over into the back row. Sends it up, and it's going to be rejected, but it falls on the wrong side of the net, 8-5. Good job, though, by that front line. Another sub here as Layla Epperson will come back into the game immediately. Millie Johnson back out onto the bench here. Again, and keeping an active bench here. That's going to go into the net. We caught the tail end of the Lady Cats practice on Wednesday. They were kind of practicing a lot of their spikes. They were trying to work on some of that front net offense there. And that's going to be tipped away. Owsley there to get it in the back row. And nobody there to get it. I'm kind of confused why Logan Farrell didn't try to come up and grab it there. 9-6, another sub here. And number 10 and number 8. Maddie Valdez and Hallie Hancock into the game for the Panthers. Yeah, I think we had a sub for the Bobcats as well. I couldn't catch who it was. No, it was Izzy Hetzel. I apologize. Back set, the spike. Drops to the floor. Morgan Jones, another kill for her today. 9-7 and another sub. Just subception here as Autumn Kidd and Peyton Green come in for their respective teams here. Autumn Kidd for Powell, Peyton Green for Thermop. Back row, that's out of bounds, and flag goes up. 10-7. More subs. Ava Brewer now into the game for Powell. She's going to replace Abigail Visosky. And net fault there for Powell. Another point for Thermop, 10-8. A pretty slow burning third set here so far, and another sub. Number 16, Logan Farrell for Thermopolis back into the game this time. She's going to replace Cameron Farrell, her sister. Sends it up into the middle here. The set, going to try and play it far side, and that's going to go back up to Epperson. A little bit of a team effort there on that one. It's going to be a tip back up to the libero. They're going to set it middle. Goes up for the block. Keeps it alive. They're going to try and play it on the far side of the net, and that's going to be Powell point. Good play there on the front side by both sides. Powell looked like the better team there on that play, though. 11-8. Gets it up into the back row. The set by Jones. Spike coming up for the 16, and she gets the kill. Logan Farrell again. Or not the 16, I apologize. The 6 was there on the kill. That was actually Millie Johnson. Logan Farrell was on the bench. So I apologize for that. That was Johnson on the kill. Blonde hair, number ends with 6. You can't blame me. The set and the spike. That's going to be a point, a kill for Cadence Carter. Good job by the Bobcats. So they did get a hand on the near side. I think it was Cameron Farrell that got a hand on it. The libero, Ava Teaton, coming back onto the baseline here. She's going all the way back up to the baseline to do her serve. And she'll deliver it to the middle. And they try to do a double-hander there, trying to get Paige Jones to try to block, but that's going to end up being a point for the Bobcats, 12-10. Another substitute coming on now is Morgan Jones, the junior, back into the game for Thermopolis. JC Owsley on the serve. She'll move it to the middle. The libero there to get it. The set, the spike from the middle, and a diving play by Epperson keeps it alive in the whistle. We've seen Epperson put her body on the line for a lot of plays this season so far in our coverage, and that's one of those examples. Sends it over. The bump, the set, And the spike. And it gets by it. That's going to be a point. Couldn't see who got the kill, though. That was off of one of the Powell players. A 13-11. Thermopolis, again, still hanging tough here in the third set. It's going to be a long game for the Powell Panthers if they can't put a stop to this now. Thermopolis is trying to wear them down at this point. It'll be a spike, and that'll go out of bounds, but off of a Bobcat, so that is going to end up being a point for the Panthers. 14-11 is your score. Delivers the spike. Owsley moves it up there. Paige Jones on the back set. Now here they go. Dives for it. Takes the spike. Epperson to the floor. That'll go out of bounds out near the scorer's table. 15 on the board now for Powell. And again, you can't really convince me that sorry. You can't convince me that right side of the floor is not the magic end of the floor if you're serving. Bobcats have won a set there. Powell's won a set. They're looking to win a second set there on that side of the floor. Way out of bounds out the left end. Powell will sacrifice a point there. 15-12. Again, Bobcats still within 3. Pretty close contest still. The set. And the spike from the near side. Owsley there to receive it. Jones. To the middle of the spike, and you can hear that one from here. Owsley there on the back end. Now here comes Paige Jones. The spike coming up. That's Millie Johnson, I believe, on the front end there. The spike, and that will hit the net. Good job there by the Bobcats to hold firm. Kendall Floyd tried to get a point there for the Panthers, but just ends up going to the net. Now serving is Logan Farrell. She's going to try and throw them off just a little bit here. Good serve, but goes around back. They're going to try to return to sender. Going to the floor. This one's going to go way out of bounds at a point for Thermopolis, rattling the Panthers a little bit on that end of the floor. I'm going to be really frank with you right now. I thought this would be a lot different of a game. I thought, especially that early first set, I thought Powell was going to run away with it. And that is still not out of the question, but it's currently a very tightly contested game as Izzy Hetzel and Maddie Valdez come onto the floor. But, it's a lot closer. The Bobcats putting up a big fight here in this game. I think they saw that JV game. They're like, hey, we have a chance here. We need to go out. We need to play our hearts out here. The serve here, it's Owsley. Now Jones. The tip over by Morgan Jones. Good job there. Takes the spike. That is going to be shanked off behind by Morgan Jones. 17-14. A good game so far. Powell trying to get themselves in a good position heading into this fourth set. We are guaranteed a fourth set here at the very least. And into the net it goes. Thermop with another point. Something tells me I do have a big feeling that's going to go into a fifth set because these two teams just continue to trade blow after blow here. It's the freshman and JV games all over again. That's a big dig there for the number 3 for Powell. And looks like they're going to give a point to Powell off of a net violation there, I think off of Epperson. 18-15. Good Lord, I am so sorry about that. That was a big blunder. Moves it to the middle of the floor, returns it immediately, and return to sender. How did she do that? (18-16). It was a normal receive there by Epperson, and it ended up turning into a kill. This two-hander goes up to Epperson. Owsley tries the spike, and they try to go for the block. That's a kill for J.C. Owsley. Very good work there in the middle. The serve coming up. This is going to go up to the back row. The set, the spike, gets to the back end, still airborne. Paige Jones now, JC Owsley gets it to the back end. Powell keeps it alive. Paige Jones moves it up. I think this is Green. Libero lowers herself to the floor here. Spike coming up. This is going to get, still alive up near the rafters. Epperson just keeping it nice and calm, going with the bump over the net. The set. Spike blocked. It's still going to end up being a point for Powell. 19-17 should be the score, and there they go. They did change it on the scoreboard. Sends it over. That's going to be a net fault. Still a very good try, though, for Kendall Floyd. Easily has been the best player out there today for Powell. Number 16, Logan Farrell, back into the game for Thermopolis. They're going to try and work this one up through the middle. The spike coming from the near side and way out of bounds. The flag goes up. That's a point for Thermop. Keeping it a super close game. Thermopolis needs to make a big charge here. According to the scoreboard, it's actually tied at 19. Don't know if that was a scorer's error or if they just pressed a button that they shouldn't have. Tied up at 19 according to the official scoreboard. That's going to be a flag raised, and Thermopolis, for the first time all set, will take the lead. And we are going to have a timeout as Powell will use their first of two. We'll be right back from Powell High School in just a minute. Thermopolis trying to put away this second set to put themselves in a big position heading into the fourth. We'll be right back here in just a moment. Talking back here, Powell already out of the timeout. And, wow, it's been a heck of a set. Powell has led most of the set, but the Bobcats have continued to just wear down the Panthers point after point. And we've been seeing some special stuff against 3A teams this year for the Bobcat volleyball program, as they just continue to, just put up good performances here. We know the freshman team beat Cody. The varsity team reverse swept Lander. When they lost to Worland, of course, but we still got one more 3A opponent that they need to play. That's Lovell. That's coming up in a couple days. Wondering how they're going to handle Lovell if they're doing so well here. And the spike coming up toward the back end. The set. Owsley contested, still keeps it alive, as was Millie Johnson there in the middle. The set, the spike coming up back end, still keeps it alive. Jones now to Owsley, she'll tip it to the near side, still going. Oh, and beautiful job there by Epperson. That's a point, though, for the Panthers to tie it back up at 20. I have a feeling it's going to be like that third set against Rocky, where the Bobcats forced Rocky to squeeze out a couple more points than they needed to. And the block, that's going to go to the near side. That's going to be a point for Thermopolis. The kill made by the 16 again. Logan Farrell has been lighting it up today. Coming into the game will be Morgan Jones. JC Owsley back to serve here for the Bobcats. She'll send it over the net through the middle. The set. The spike. Oh, that was a close call. That looked on the line, but that's going to be in for the refs. 21-21. They'll say that it was in. I do agree with the call there. It was a very close call, though. Not easy to make. You have to have those lightning quick reflexes as an official if you want to officiate volleyball. That's going to go out of bounds. Flag goes up, no question about it. 22-21. Bobcats haven't fell victim to that very often today at either three levels today. Freshman, JV, or varsity. Layla Epperson there, now Morgan Jones. Now here comes the double-hander there by Millie Johnson. The spike. Good job by Owsley in the backside. Probably wasn't the best choice of words there, I apologize. Gets up behind her. Owsley going for the diving stop. And they're going to just get that one out of bounds, and Coach Ops will just take that one And another timeout has been called. Thermopolis this time will use their first timeout of the set. 23-21 is your score, as the Powell Panthers only need 2 more to win the set. We'll be right back here from Powell High School in just a moment. Panthers break out of the timeout. We forgot to mention this set. This game is brought to you by Kirby Consulting, your oil field drilling professionals, serving the Rockies and the Western Plains since 2014. Kirby Consulting is a proud sponsor of Thermopolis Bobcat Volleyball on Two Basins Sports Network. This one will be received in the back end, and they're going to keep it on the near side. They'll grandma it back to the other end of the floor. The spike, and kept up by Morgan Jones. Epperson. Jones again, two-hander to the near side, trying to throw him off. And they'll try to tip in. A dive! Beautiful job there. They're going to keep that one, the point for Powell. 24 on the board. Set point for the Panthers. Set point here. Jones, far side, and it's blocked. That's the final point of the set, and Powell will take the third set from the Bobcats. And 2-1. This fourth set is going to be crucial. If the Bobcats can win it, we're going into a 15-point fifth set. And we will be right back in just a moment as we conclude the third set of play here. Powell retakes the lead, but the question is, will they be able to hold on to it? Either way, we'll be right back from inside of Powell High School in just a moment. Powell leads 2-1, and we'll be right back for the fourth set. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. You are watching Varsity Volleyball on Two Basins Sports Network, the voice of the Bobcats. Like talking back here inside of Powell High School, home of the Powell Panthers. Fourth set about to start here, but the good news for the Bobcats, this was their dominant end of the floor in that second set that got them the win. If they can carry that over into this set, that should put this into a fifth set, but then the bad news is coin toss will probably end up deciding who gets what end of the floor there. But the Bobcats set to do it again here. Forget that just said end of fourth set instead of actual fourth set. It's always a fun time being up here in Powell. Don't get that chance often these days. Epperson on the serve to the far side. And they'll do the two-hander. Owsley drops. And the spike coming up. This drops to the floor. That's a point. And Thermopolis, first point of the game. That's kind of how it started in that second set. If they can keep that momentum, this could be an interesting finish to the game. Epperson will go for her second serve. They'll let it fall out. Flag goes up. Powell ties it back up. Another sub here. Izzy Hetzel coming onto the floor. Also coming on for Powell is going to be Ava Brewer. Our next volleyball broadcast will be against the Lovell Bulldogs in Lovell. And then we got a game against Wind River coming. Oh, what a job there to keep it going. 2-1 here. Fans starting to fan out a little bit here. The bleachers becoming a little bit more bare as the game goes on, but the Bobcat ends still holding strong. Owsley drops, and now Millie Johnson. Now here comes Epperson. Sends it over to the other end of the floor here. And the spike, that's good. I heard something there. That's going to go all the way back. Ow, man, that could have been bad for Epperson. She looked like she wanted to put a hand on it. And they'll tie it back up at 2. Izzy Hetzel heading back off the floor here. Back end. They're going to go for the spike here. Drops to the floor, keeps it alive. That'll be 4 touches anyway. 3-2. Powell on top. If they win this set, they win the match. Although a hard-fought game so far by the Bobcats. And net fault on the Panthers. Tied up again at 3. Looks like they're going to have another sub for the Cats. Owsley going to come in for the serve here. Sends it over, drops to her knees. It'll be a set and a spike. And heads up going into the home end of the bleachers. That was a scary situation down there for some of the Powell fans. 4-3. Serve coming up for the libero, Ava Teaton. The spike coming up for Morgan Jones. Bobcat offense has been a little bit less effective in that third set. But that's going to go out of bounds here. The Bobcats have relied mostly on their defense today. Just letting Powell kind of score the points for them in that regard. They've been going out a lot here today. Drops to the floor. That's a beautiful ace there for the Bobcats. And they'll score off the serve with little to no effort at all there. 5-4. Goes up for the spike. Owsley there to receive it. And Powell's going to try to answer. They got a spike from the far side. That was off of Cadence Carter. Beautiful job there. The spike drops in the middle of the floor. The kill by Cameron Farrell. 6-4. Bobcats starting to extend the lead just a bit here. Move it out toward the three-point line here. And now from the far side, Owsley. Jones to the middle. This is going to be the 16 keeping it alive. That's going to go all the way back. Owsley diving to grab it there. And now Morgan Jones putting it back over the net here. The spike coming up and drop it to the floor. Just a couple inches too deep there. Millie Johnson tried to get the dig there. Powell still trails by 1. And we got a sub coming in, number 3, Abigail Visosky coming in for the Powell Panthers. Visosky is a sophomore here. I think we saw her play a little bit of basketball last year. Far side, sends it over. And the spike coming up. They're going to get there. Good job by the Bobcats. Morgan Jones sends it over. That's going to be a little bit of interference there, but a net violation on the Panthers. will get a point there for Thermop, 7-5. Thermopolis trying to stay in this game and get it into a fifth set. Force that 15-point there. They'll send it in a net fault there for the Bobcats. 6 on the board for Powell. Powell trying to hang tough, and like we said, most of that scoring has come from the right side of the gym today, regardless of team. Hetzel was there to get it. Far side, the spike coming up. This is going to be trouble for Powell. They'll get there. Ooh, good job by Powell to get in there and get a hand on it. The spike coming up. 2, 3, there they go. That is off of Hetzel and out of bounds. And Powell will tie it up again at 7. Some really good volleyball being played between these two schools here. Cadence Carter up to serve now. Sends it up to the middle. Epperson diving to grab it. And they'll get the point awarded to the Bobcats. Something at the net there caused the point. The serve coming up here. Jump serve, gets up to the middle of the floor, now moves up to the front. And Owsley trying to send this one back. They're going to try to get up into the back end of the floor here. The set and the spike from the far side, and it's blocked! That's a point for the Bobcats! As Kendall Floyd tried to get it over onto the other end of the floor. 9-7. The set and the spike. And, Owsley tried to rescue it with her foot there. 8 on the board now for Powell. It's been just a great game to watch these two go at it today. At the freshman level, at the JV level, and at the varsity level. It's all been barn burners so far. With this having the potential to go into a fifth set. And that's going to get the corner of the net. That's going to go back to Thermop, 10-8. Delivers it. Dives for it. Goes under the net. Easy points there, but a good effort by Ava Teton to try and get the point for Powell, 11-8. Thermopolis with one of their biggest leads of the set. Definitely their biggest lead since the second set. The set and the spike from the middle, and it's rejected. They're going to send it back, and it's going to ricochet off of Peyton Green. 9-11. Powell trails by 2 and a sub. Coming onto the floor looks to be Ava Brewer. Now getting ready to serve is Leah Graham. The spike coming up. This will go all the way out the back and a point. And that one barely cleared the net. Jones. Owsley now gets it into the back end. They're going to try and go for the spike there. Good job by Epperson to field it. Now Owsley pushing it back up to that far quadrant there. Paige Jones on the set. The spike up by, I believe, Millie Johnson. Bumps it over from the far side. Izzy Hetzel there to meet it. Now Paige Jones, middle to Millie Johnson. She'll push it over with 2 hands. Powell trying to gear up for another attack there. Good job there, Paige Jones. And now the attack by Owsley. She'll tip it over. Gets the point. And finally brings an end to the rally there, 12-10. Izzy Hetzel coming off the floor. Coming back in is going to be Logan Farrell. Paige Jones now on the serve for the Cats. Barely stayed behind the orange line there. The spike, and that's going to go right back into the net. Swallowed by the net there in the middle. 13-10. The serve, and that barely cleared the net. Falls to the floor, and the ball was even trying to play tricks after the play ended. And the Thermopolis student section getting in on it too. There they go. Good job by Powell to keep it alive. Epperson now to the middle to Jones. Spike from the far side. I didn't even see her. If I didn't see her, I could guarantee you Powell didn't. 15-10. And a timeout called, I believe, by the Panthers. I think they'll use their first time out of the game here, or first time out of the set. We'll be right back in just a moment. It is a Panther timeout. We'll be back in less than 45 seconds. Thanks for welcoming you back. The Panthers and the Bobcats on Two Basins Sports Network, brought to you by Kirby Consulting. If you'd like to add your company to that list of supporters, then get in contact with us at 307-388-9203, or you can message us directly on Facebook. Either way works. Your support helps guarantee that we can bring these games to you. We got a couple of big road trips coming up, including Lovell. Also some trips to help out the Shoshone and Matiti programs for football. And that is a beautiful play there that Powell had. Thermopolis responds. Epperson now a back set from Jones and tips it over, tries to keep it alive, gets there and it stays in! 16 on the board for the Bobcats. And Powell starting to break a little bit here in this fourth set. And a point there for Powell, 16-11. They'll try to get this one back here. We got a sub, I think, coming on, replacing the server here. Number 10, Maddie Valdez, the junior, back into the game here. Lady Cats ready to go here. Panthers on the serve, near side, and that's into the net. They're going to try to keep it alive. It goes under the net. Unfortunately, that net's 0 points. And Powell will have 12 on the board now, a 4-point game, as the Bobcats try to earn the right for a fifth set. Paige Jones in the middle. Spike coming up. Beautiful job on the defense there by Powell. Far side off Jones. Now Millie Johnson. Epperson. That's way overcooked, and that's going to go back behind the line. Powell with another point. And Powell going to deliver it now to the near side, keeping it alive. Epperson, last one to touch it for the Bobcats. 2. Now 3 on the spike. 1. They're going to try to set this one back. Beautiful job keeping it heads up there. And trying to dive for it. Probably would have just barely stayed in had she not gone for it. So I don't blame her. Even if she did make contact with it, it probably would have gone in the opposite direction of where she probably would want it to. 16-14. Powell trying to end this game here. And a little bit overcooked there for the bump, but they'll send it back over. And they have to dig hard for it. That's a point for Powell, 15. And another timeout's been called. Thermopolis will use their first timeout. And we're going to take a quick breather. We will be right back from inside of Powell High School in just a moment. Panthers trying to retake the lead, but the Bobcats holding on by 1 so far here in the fourth. Let's welcome you back here. Powell Panthers, Thermopolis Bobcats. It's Varsity Volleyball on Two Basins Sports Network. The voice of the Bobcats. The serve coming up. Dives to the floor, keeps it airborne. It goes out of bounds onto the word mark. And we're all tied up again here at 16. Bobcats, who have had such good luck on that side of the floor, just are struggling here within the last 5 points. Powell was trailing by quite a bit. But they've since come back. Thermop called a timeout, but let's see if that gives them any momentum here. And the antenna violation is going to give another point to Powell as the ball goes around the antenna. Not legal. 17-16. 8 more points will end this match. And the Bobcats will continue to still be stuck at 4 wins here on the season. Dive into the floor, into the net it goes. And that's a point for the Bobcats to tie it up again. Powell, I believe, looking for their 11th win of the season, if I'm not mistaken. Like we said, they lost to Lovell in a 5-set game. Bobcats lost to Rocky in 3, so a lot of drama in Bighorn County on Thursday night, on Thursday night and Friday night. Keeping this one where she wants it, takes it to the back of the court here. Morgan Jones with 2 hands up to the far side, stays within bounds here. The spike coming up. Owsley was more than ready for it there on the back end. Goes for the spike. Powell going to try to answer here with a bump. That's going to go into the net. Bobcat point. 18-17. We got another sub here. Number 4, Kendall Floy. Serve coming up for Owsley. Sends it over. The set and the spike. Good job there. They'll tip it over, and it looks like they're going to give a whistle and a point to Powell to tie it up again at 18. All they need is 7 more points. Both sides to win this set. One of them to win the match. And that's going to stay in. That's a point for the Bobcats. 19. Neither side give it up here in this set. Millie Johnson back to serve now for the Bobcats. Lowers herself there to the floor. Goes for the spike, and that is an easy point there on the kill by the number 2 of Cadence Carter. Last time they were on this side of the floor, Carter did not have a good set, but she is having a really good one on that far end here. The serve coming up. Drops to the middle there. That's Owsley. Now Jones. Morgan Jones. It's blocked, and it's double touch there. 20-19 is your score. Powell on top. 5 points to match here. And out of bounds. Bobcats tie it again at 20. When does it end? Both sides have just been trading paint all day. Whether it was freshmen, whether it was JV or varsity. They've been trading spots all day today. Takes it to the back end. The tip. And a whistle, and that's a point for Powell. 21-20. They just need 4 more to put the match away. The Bobcats trying to hold on to go into a 5th set. The serve, the jump, and now here they go. Up to the far side. And it's going to be shaked off behind her. That's a point for the Bobcats. What a job there by the offense. Powell tried to spare the point there. It just didn't work for them. And now trying to see who we got on the serve for the Bobcats. Dropping to the floor there. The middle. Owsley there to get it. Now Paige Jones. 2 people there were trying to make the spike at the same time there. They're going to drop to the floor. That's a point for the Panthers. 22 now on the board for Powell. They got to win by 2. Keep that in mind. And this is the third set in Rocky all over again for the Bobcats. Can Powell hold on to win the fourth set and spare the fifth? Or will the Bobcats try to charge here? Epperson with it now. Here comes Jones through the middle. Now Owsley on the tip behind her. The set. The spike. Out. That's a flag going up. That's going to be the Bobcats on the point. Tied at 22. And here comes Epperson now. 3 points between either a fifth set or the end of the match. The spike, the block, they keep it going. Back end, the spike, they'll get to the back end here. That's off of Hetzel. And now Green and out of bounds. 23. Timeout called as Kylie Corpening will use her second and final timeout of the set. We'll be right back from inside of Powell High School in just a moment. It's 23-22. Both teams, one team trying to end the match, the other trying to extend it. We'll be right back in just a moment. I'd like to welcome you back inside of Powell High School, home of the Panthers. Absolute pleasure to be here in Powell, here in Eastern Park County. The Bobcats and the Panthers. 2 points for Powell. Received. Now here comes Jones, and now through the middle it's going to be Owsley. Libero drops to the floor to make the play. The spike. That one's off of Green. Izzy Hetzel tries to keep it alive, and it'll go into the far side stands, and we are on match point. 24-22. Powell only needs one more to win the match. Bobcats have got to push here. Just don't know if they have it in them here, quite frankly. Lowers up to Jones now. Here comes the spike by Johnson. Into the net. That's the point. That's the game. Game, set, match. That's the end of it. And the Powell Panthers take down the Thermopolis Bobcats, but it was not easy. And at the end of the fourth set, the final score is the Thermopolis Bobcats 1 set and the Powell Panthers with 3 sets. Of course, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Kirby Consulting, as for, of course, making this broadcast a little bit more possible. Of course, without their support, of course, it'd be a little bit more difficult for us to be here today. Also, thank you to all of our viewers who have watched here on YouTube. It was shared on social media. I'd like to thank the Park County School District for allowing us to be up here broadcasting this live for free here on YouTube in full color. And, of course, thank you to the Powell Panthers, Thermopolis Bobcats programs for putting on a good show for us today. The freshman game was amazing. The JV game was even better. Varsity game was also a barn burner. Just a shame it had to end in 4. And a lot of stuff that they need to prepare for heading into the game against the Lovell Bulldogs. That'll be our next volleyball broadcast. We have some... our next broadcast in general, we are looking at junior varsity foot, or I guess, not really JV. It's football. We're going to be helping out the Shoshone Wranglers a little bit in a couple of days on Thursday. We're going to be taking a trip to Shoshone as they'll be taking on the junior varsity team from Cheyenne East High School. So that'll be live from Bailey Field, of course, helping out our neighbors down south of the dam here. And then on October 9th, which is, when is that? Thursday. Okay, so that's not, okay, so the Shoshone game is on October 7th, which is on Tuesday. And then Thursday, we're going to be heading up to Lovell for some volleyball action. And then Friday, we got a triple header going on. We got some middle school and varsity football on behalf of the Meeteetse Longhorns. So we're going to be bringing some six-man football to you on TBSN. Then we're going to have to skedaddle back down to Thermopolis for homecoming against Lyman. So that's going to be our broadcast schedule for the next next week or so. Then, of course, that weekend on October 11th, we have some volleyball for you against Wind River. So with that being said, as always, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure being here. Powell is such a nice little town, in my opinion. It's always nice being here. We came up here for soccer in the spring, and it's always nice to be here in Powell. These guys are so amazing. But with that being said, we're going to pack up and get the heck out of here. With that being said, as always, thank you for tuning in. Final score, Powell 3 sets, Thermopolis 1 set. Bobcats will be back on the road against Lovell next week. So with that being said, as always, please drive home safe and do not pet the buffalo. We'll see you on Tuesday in Shoshone for some 9-man football. That should be a lot of fun. Thank you for tuning in.